There's an old saying, when we're young, we do everything to make others happy, but as we grow older, we realize that the wise often do the opposite. Welcome to today's video, where we'll discuss 5 things smart men should never do in their relationships with women. Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors, once said that our biggest mistakes aren't the things we do wrong, but the things we shouldn't do yet still attempt. And often, the smarter someone is, the more likely they are to make these errors. In this short video, I'll share some insights from Stoic philosophy, valuable lessons that I and many others had to learn the hard way. I believe that many of you watching will relate to the situations we're about to discuss. Before we dive in, leave a comment if you've ever made any of these mistakes. Your story could be just what another man needs to hear to avoid falling into the same traps. Number 1. Keep your past private. The first principle we need to discuss is about protecting your past. Nietzsche once said, "Old thoughts come back to haunt us like ghosts of past decisions." And nowhere is this more true than in relationships. Let me tell you something important. Smart men often make the mistake of thinking that being open about their past shows emotional maturity. They share their darkest moments, their failures, their vulnerabilities, thinking it will create a deeper connection. But here's what they don't realize. Once you share something, you can't take it back. I've seen countless men share their deepest insecurities, past relationship traumas, or personal struggles, only to have these very things used against them later. As the Stoics taught us, not everything needs to be spoken, and not every truth needs to be shared. Think of your past like a valuable treasure. You don't show it to everyone who expresses interest. You share it only with those who have proven themselves worthy of your trust over time. The harsh truth is that what you share in a moment of intimacy can become ammunition during a moment of anger. So what's the solution? Be selective with your past. Share gradually, share wisely, and most importantly, share only what serves a purpose in your present relationship. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In this case, the best protection is not to give away your power through premature disclosure. Remember, mystery isn't just attractive, it's protective. Keep your past private not because you're hiding it, but because you're protecting what's precious. Your story is yours to tell, but only to those who have earned the right to hear it. Number 2, face your fear of being alone. Let's talk about something most men won't admit, the fear of being alone. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." But here's the uncomfortable truth. Many men stay in toxic relationships simply because they're afraid of solitude. Think about it. How many times have you seen a friend, or maybe even yourself, stick with the wrong person just because the thought of being alone seemed worse? It's like staying in a burning house because you're afraid of the cold outside. As the Stoics taught us, sometimes our fear of emptiness is more damaging than the emptiness itself. I remember working with successful businessmen, CEOs, leaders, men who could command boardrooms but couldn't handle a Friday night alone. They'd rather endure disrespect, even emotional abuse, than face their fear of solitude. But here's what they don't realize. When you fear being alone, you give away your power to anyone willing to keep you company. The Stoic philosophers understood something profound about this. They knew that a man who can't be alone will never truly know if he's with someone for love or for fear. You can't make clear decisions about relationships when you're running from loneliness. So what's the solution? Start with small steps. Learn to enjoy your own company. Find peace in solitude. Because here's the paradox. Once you become comfortable being alone, you'll naturally attract people who add to your life rather than those who just fill a void. Remember, being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being strong enough to wait for what you deserve rather than accepting what you're afraid to lose. Number 3, manage your time wisely. Let's talk about something that might hit close to home. Wasting your most precious resource, time. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said something powerful. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And nowhere is this more true than in relationships. Think about how many hours you've spent overthinking text messages, waiting for calls that never came, or trying to figure out what she really meant. Think about the weekends you've wasted trying to please someone who wasn't even sure about you. As Marcus Aurelius said, time is like a river. Once it passes, it's gone forever. I've seen too many men spend their prime years chasing people who see them as a backup plan. They put their goals on hold, cancel plans with friends, skip gym sessions, all for someone who wouldn't do the same for them. The harsh truth is that while you're making someone else a priority, they might be making you an option. The Stoics understood something crucial about time. It's the only resource you can never get back. You can always make more money, build new relationships, or create new opportunities. But time, once it's gone, is gone forever. So what's the solution? Start treating your time like the valuable asset it is. Before you invest hours, days, or months in someone, ask yourself, are they investing the same in you? Are you spending time building a connection or just filling an emotional void? Remember, a wise man doesn't just manage his money well, he manages his time even better. Because in the end, when we waste time on the wrong person, we're not just giving away hours, we're giving away pieces of our life. Number 4, acknowledge your successes. Here's a paradox that many intelligent men face. The more they achieve, the more reluctant they become to acknowledge their success in relationships. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." But let's be honest, there's a difference between humility and concealing your achievements. I've seen successful men minimize their accomplishments, hide their ambitions, even downplay their success, all because they're afraid of appearing arrogant or intimidating. They'll build companies, win awards, reach significant milestones, but in relationships, they act as if none of it matters. Why? Because somewhere along the way, they learned that being too successful might scare others away. Listen closely. If your achievements make someone uncomfortable, that's not your burden to carry. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best way to avenge yourself is not to be like that. Don't hide your light just because it might overwhelm those who are accustomed to darkness. Here's the truth. Being proud of your achievements doesn't mean boasting. It means recognizing the work you've put in, the obstacles you've overcome, and the goals you're still striving for. A strong partner doesn't want someone who hides their success. They want someone who can inspire them to pursue their own dreams. So what's the solution? Own your journey. Share your victories, not to boast, but to inspire. The right person won't feel threatened by your success. They'll be excited to be part of your next chapter. Remember, your achievements are a part of who you are. They're not just bullet points on a resume, they're chapters in your story. Anyone who wants to be part of your life should be ready to read the entire book, not just the easy parts. Number 5, safeguard your mental well-being. Let's discuss something that men rarely talk about: safeguarding your mental well-being in relationships. The Stoics understood a fundamental truth: your mind is your fortress. Yet too many men let their mental health deteriorate for the sake of keeping someone else happy. Think about it. We go to the gym to protect our physical health, work hard to protect our financial health, but when it comes to mental health, we let someone else's dramas tear it apart. As Marcus Aurelius warned, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. I've seen brilliant men turn into anxious wrecks, checking their phones every 5 minutes, overthinking every conversation, losing sleep over someone else's mood swings. They convince themselves it's normal, that it's just what relationships are like. But here's the truth. If your relationship is constantly disrupting your peace of mind, it's not love, it's emotional warfare. The Stoics taught us something profound. Your mental well-being is not negotiable. It's not something you sacrifice for a relationship, because if you lose your inner peace, what do you bring to the relationship anyway? A stressed, anxious, depleted version of yourself. So what's the solution? Set boundaries, learn to say no, walk away from drama, and most importantly, understand that someone who truly cares about you will never make you choose between their happiness and your mental health. Remember, maintaining your mental well-being isn't selfish. It's essential, because at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't build a healthy relationship from an unhealthy mind. Final reflections. As we wrap up our discussion about these 5 crucial principles from Stoic philosophy, let's remember something essential. These aren't just rules about relationships. They're guidelines for preserving your dignity, strength, and authenticity as an individual. From protecting your past to managing your independence, each principle we've discussed is rooted in ancient wisdom that remains remarkably relevant today. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. These principles aren't about manipulating or controlling relationships. They're about building a solid foundation within yourself so that any relationship you enter enhances your life rather than defines it. The Stoics understood something profound. True strength in relationships comes not from what we do, but from what we refuse to do. If today's video resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with others who might need to hear this message. Leave a comment below sharing which principle resonated with you. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. Remember, following these principles doesn't make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you wise. Because in the end, the best relationships aren't built on sacrifice or dependency, but on mutual respect and individual strength. Until next time, be strong, be steady, be stoic.